دوستان عزیز درود بر شما و میریم سراغ ریتایرمنت. میخوایم در مورد کانسپت آف ریتایرمنت یا مفهوم ریتایرمنت یا بازنشستگی صحبت کنیم. For a start we need to change our جای خالی of retirement. خب میگه برای شروع ما نیاز داریم we need to change. این need to معنی must میده اما بسیار حالت کمتر، یعنی باید. خارجی ها مثلا نمیگن، میگم you must do this، تو باید این کارو بکنی. میگن you need to do this، مثلا خیلی حالت ملایم تری داره، حالت دستوری نداره. خارجی ها معمولا دستور مستور به کسی نمیدن، حالت غیر مؤدبانه هستش، از need to استفاده میکنن. مثلا اینجا میگه we need to change our جای خالی of retirement. ما باید تغییر بدیم چیزمون رو، نمیدونیم این چیز چیه، retirement. خب concept of retirement مثلا میتونه باشه، یا mindset of retirement هم فکر میکنم میتونه باشه. ببینیم کدوم گزینه هستش و همون اول concept of مفهوم بازنشستگی، concept of retirement. and we need to change و ما باید تغییر بدیم mindset هایی که همون چیزی که تو ذهنتون هستش rising from earlier government policy که از سیاست دولت‌های قبلی به دست میاد. شما نگاه کنید هر دولتی در مورد بازنشسته‌های بدبخت یه چیزی مثلا میگه، یه مایندستی تو ذهنتون میذاره. 4 سال بعد یکی عوض میشه، یه چیز دیگه میذاره، میگه آقا اینا رو بیخیال شو. کلا in the face of high unemployment levels، در رابطه با وقتی که ما مواجه میشیم با سطوح بیکاری بسیار بالا، که چی میشه؟ encourage mature workers to take early retirement، که تشویق میکنه mature workers رو. mature آدم بالغ میشه، اما mature workers اینجا منظورش کارگرایی هستش که سنهای بالا دارن. یعنی مثلا تو استرالیا فکر میکنم 65 63 یادم نیست، یه عددی هستش که دکتر ادم از دانشگاه سیدنی بهمون توضیح میده. و اینجا میگه که دولت معمولا وقتی بیکاری زیاده تشویق میکنه، البته تو استرالیا، تو ایران که اصلا این شکل نیست، که اینا زودتر بازنشسته بشن، یعنی کارگرها زودتر بازنشسته بشن. این مایندست های قبلی بوده. الان بعدش الان یه چیز دیگه میگه today، اما امروز اما نداره. government encourages them to، خب دولت تشویق میکنه اونا رو their retirement. خب الان میگه چی؟ الان دیگه نمیگه زودتر، الان میگه دیرتر. خب ببینیم معنی دیرتر چی میشه اینجا. مثلا همینجا الان گزینه‌ها رو میبینن delay their retirement، یعنی بازنشستگیشون رو به تأخیر بندازن. برای همین شما باید همه جملات رو کامل بخونین. We now need to think of retirement as a phased process where mature age workers جای خالی reduce their hours. ما حالا دوباره need to داره میگه، نکنید 3 بار need to آورده. need to همون معنی باید میده، اما حالت ملایم ترش. میگه ما اکنون میبایستی فکر کنیم در رابطه با retirement یا بازنشستگی as a phased process رو بازم دکتر ادم به شما توضیح میده. where mature age workers که کارگرایی مثلا که سنشون بالا هستش جای خالی reduce their hours، کاهش بدن ساعتشون رو. خب اینجا نکنید شما از یه حالت فیز، یعنی همون فاز دیگه، فیز اینجا گفته فیز پروسس، یعنی فراینده. حالا فازی حالا نمیشه گفت، ولی از یه فاز مثلا به یه فاز دیگه رسیدی، شما باید کم کم ساعتت رو کاهش بدی دیگه، چون داری پیر میشی و اینا. پس اینجا هم معنیش میشه gradually کم کم کاهش بدن. خب بقیه‌شو بخون. and where they have considerable flexibility in how they combine their work and non-work time. جایی که باید flexibility یعنی انعطاف پذیری قابل توجهی داشته باشن که چگونه زمان کاری work time and non-work time، این تایم و فاکتور گرفته ازش، این دوتا رو ترکیب با هم بکنن. We also need to recognize، دوباره need to آورده، ما همچنین باید recognize تشخیص بدیم the broader change، اون تغییرات گسترده‌ای که that is occurring in how people work، که رخ میده که چگونه افراد کار بکنن، learn یاد بگیرن and زندگی کنن and live. Increasingly we are moving away from a linear relationship between education, training, work and retirement as people move in and out of jobs, careers, caregiving, study and leisure. میگه به صورت افزاینده‌ای ما داریم فاصله میگیریم از رابطه خطی linear relationship، یعنی رابطه خطی بین تحصیلات، آموزش و کار و بازنشستگی، وقتی که افراد از یه کاری move in or out، مثلا به یه کاری وارد میشن و وارد نمیشن، بیرون میان، یعنی careers شغلا، و study مطالعه، و leisure هم یعنی همون تفریح و ایناشون میشه دیگه، leisure time، مثلا اوقات فراغت. Employers of choice remove the جای خالی between the different segments of people's lives by creating flexible conditions of work and a range of leave entitlement. نکنید employer میشه همون کارفرمایی که مثلا employers of choice، مثلا میگه کارفرمایی که انتخابا رو میدن، remove میکنن یعنی بر میدارند. شما هر وقت remove رو میبینی یاد یه چیزی باید بیافتین. remove الان چی رو باید برداره؟ چون کارگر داری زیر نظرت کار میکنه، باید barriers رو برداری، موانع رو برداری. همینجا اصلا تو ذهن من barriers اومد و اینجا میبینیم هست barriers between، موانع رو بردارم بین segment of people's lives، یعنی بخشای از زندگی افراد، by creating flexible condition of work، با ایجاد کردن شرایط انعطاف پذیری از کار، و live entitlement هم عدم به شما توضیح میده. این یه سری، شما نکنید وقتی سر کار تو خارج از کشور میرین به شما یه سری حالتهای absence به شما میدن و به صورت قانونی، مثلا میتونین مثلا هالیدی برین، مثلا تعطیلات برین یه مدت، به اونا مثلا میگن live entitlement. چند نوعه. They take an individualized approach to workforce planning and development so that the needs of employers and employees can be met. جای خالی. اونا یه دیدگاهی رو برمیدارن برای نیرو کارشون. workforce planning یعنی اون طرحی که برای کار دارن و توسعهش که نیازهای کارفرما و کارگر رو، مثلا کسی که کار میکنه can be met. needs نکنید همیشه باید met بشه، هر جفتشون باید همزمان met بشه دیگه، پس اینجا میشه simultaneously، همزمان. خب دیگه بقیه‌اش نیاز نیست بخونیم، ولی میخونیم. This approach، این دیدگاه support یعنی حمایت میکنه the different transition that occur across the life course، for example school to work. میگه این دیدگاه حمایت میکنه یعنی support میکنه، حالا حمایت شاید معنی فارسی درستی نباشه، از different transition یعنی شرایط گذرایی که مختلف باشه که رخ میده در طول زندگی، مثل school to work or becoming a parent. شما وقتی که مثلا یه والد میشین یا والدین میشین، یه ترانزیشن رخ داده دیگه تو زندگیتون، یعنی یه شرایط گذرا رخ داده. becoming responsible for the care of older relatives یعنی مسئول مراقبت از افراد پیر خانواده‌تون بشین، مثلا کسی که از پدر مادر پیرش مراقبت میکنه. and moving from work to retirement، و همچنین از وقتی که شما بازنشسته میشین، از کارتون مجبورین برین به بازنشستگی. موفق باشید. صحبت‌های ادم هم گوش کنیم.
So the reason that this has to be delay rather than extend, it's all about the whole context. So extending a retirement is expanding the period of time that you're retired. Delaying means you have less time being retired because you don't retire from your work until later in life. Okay, so the opening sentence is about the idea of retiring from work, and how this relates to government policy. So in the past, they're implying here that retirement ages were set because there were lots of unemployed people anyway, and so they wanted people to leave the workforce so that other people could get jobs when they no longer needed that material support. So they encouraged people to leave younger. But then in the second sentence, they're saying that the government has changed to encourage them to keep working until they're older, because unemployment is no longer the same kind of problem and they need them in the workforce. So hence, in the full context, it has to be delay rather than extend, because that's what's changed. Mature workers were encouraged to retire early. Now they're encouraged to delay.
When we are talking about the mature worker, can you specify the range of the age?
So in New South Wales, for example, and I think Australia-wide, someone is entitled to a government aged pension when they're older than 67 years old, I think. And that might be changing again soon. So we're talking about people who are in that age range of 55 and older. And one of the big drivers of retirement is whether or not people can access the aged pension. So the retirement age in Australia is 67. That's the kind of category we mean by mature, that is older. It means it depends on the jurisdiction and what point in history, but it means older than 65 in this case. Yeah. So employers of choice, this is like a category that an employer might put themselves in. That is, they offer good conditions. They offer a holistic view of the worker. And so what they're saying is that to be good employers, that is, employers that people might actually want to work at, those employers or those organizations or businesses need to take away barriers between different aspects of someone's life. So making it easier for them to combine work with other things that they might want to do. So instead of saying that work is inflexible, you have to be here between 9 and 5 or 8 and 4 or even 8 and 6 in some cases, they would be able to negotiate, oh yes, I need to look after my grandchildren in the afternoons on Wednesdays, and I won't be available because I have this class I go to on Mondays. So working around that. So that's what they mean by barriers between different parts of people's lives. Segment is an unusual word here because we often talk about segments when we're being very analytical and breaking something up into different pieces. You might talk about a market segment or market segmentation, or you might also talk about segmenting a sample in science. You're breaking it up into parts. But what they're basically saying is the different parts of people's lives, the different aspects, not not the different times in their lives, but the different roles and other things that they might do in their life. So some of it is leisure, some of it is family care, some of it is their job or their career, some of it is learning and study. They're talking about those. Leave entitlements is about what your employer allows you to do in terms of being away from your job. So some of that is about what you're paid to go and do. So, for example, annual leave. Everyone who's a continuing or contracted employer with a leave entitlement for annual leave can take a certain amount of time per year off. But also other entitlements might be personal leave. So can I take time off work if I get sick? Can I take time off work if I need to go and care for someone in my family or my community? Can I take unpaid time off work to go and do other kinds of work, like studying? So those entitlements are the things that you're not guaranteed, but that your boss or your workplace might allow.
Yeah. Phase process. What does that mean?
Yeah, so they're encouraging us, instead of thinking about when you get to a certain point, you stop work, you retire, and everything changes. You go from being someone who's at work most of the week to someone who no longer goes to work. They're suggesting that we break that process up and spread it out. So you're going
process.
through different phases. So you might start by dropping the number of days that you're at work rather than retiring. And then you might gradually change the type of work you do that's maybe suits someone in that situation better. So they're encouraging us and our employers to think about the end of someone's career being more gradual and being divided up into different phases. It's a very abstract word, but they mean like steps in a process.
Yeah.
Mature literally means having reached full adulthood. So yes, you're right. Physically, most humans are full adulthood, 15 or 16. But in this context, mature age, those two together, means older people.
Older
It means,
people.
yeah, it means the elderly. It usually means older than 50 years old.
In Australia, as you mentioned now, it is at this time 75 or 65. I forgot.
67 is retirement age for the aged pension. But you probably start having conversations about retirement earlier than that. Thinking about, can I keep doing this kind of work? How much money do I have saved?
Yeah,
And so on.
Great. Thank you.